Three.
Can you imagine a world where borders do not limit human potential, where justice and compassion transcend nationality, and where the inherent dignity and rights of every individual are protected? Protecting immigration rights is not only a matter of basic human dignity and compassion, but also about understanding the extensive contribution that these immigrants have to the United States. Over the past week, I have conducted extensive research over the facets of immigration crisis here in the United States. First, I will talk about how these immigrants live in fear every day of being deported, even after being abiding citizens here in the US. Then, I will describe how implementing comprehensive immigration reforms prioritizes humanitarian concerns and the integration of undocumented immigrants here in the United States. And lastly, I will describe how advocating for these immigration rights is just one step to creating a change and giving them the rights that they deserve. Now, let me describe the problem for these immigrants. Many of these immigrants live in fear every day, even after being abided citizens. Many are immigrant parents who fled their home country because of the dangers they were in, so they came to the United States and crossed the border to give their children and themselves a better life to live. However, because they decided to cross a border that was created by the government, they are considered illegal. U.S. Border Patrols reported that nearly 2.77 million migrants crossed the border as of September of 2022, according to Lorna Collier at CQ Researchers Online from December of 2022 in the article titled Immigration Crisis. How can these individuals who are abided citizens be treated any less because of the country they were born in? How come these individuals who are great contributors to the economy, have jobs, pay taxes, be treated any less? It is not fair that the government continues to discriminate them and marginalize them just because of they were born at, and it is not fair and it needs to change. Now that I've described the problem, let me talk about the solution. Implementing comprehensive immigration reforms is the first step to creating change. Implementing these reforms for immigrants can increase the number of permanent legal residents here in the United States. Many individuals apply to become a legal permanent resident here in the US. However, it can take up to a decade. It could be less, it could even be more. It just really depends. However, many of these individuals don't have that much time because of the immediate threat discussed earlier that they're in, so they decide to cross the border illegally. According to the Department of Homeland Security, that was reported that around 270,000 individuals became legal permanent residents here in the United States, according to the 2023 Yale in Context entry on opposing viewpoints in the section Immigration. Now that I've discussed the solution to the problem, let me talk about what we need to do to advocate for these immigrants. Advocating is necessary to create change and let people understand why there needs to be change. Collaborating with student organizations on campus can create change for these students, especially since they witness firsthand how these immigration policies can affect them. Many of these students are affected directly by these immigration policies, maybe because they're immigrants themselves or because they're children of immigrants. According to Reed Kareem in the CQ Researchers Online from September of 2014 in the article titled Race and Education, the immigration population is increasing, thus the Latino population is increasing, especially in education. Many of these students or Latino students who are immigrants themselves or children of immigrants need to have a foundation of rights that they do not have and are needed for them to further their education. Also, protesting and advocating for these immigrants is necessary. Understanding that protests are created through anger, but driven by hope is necessary to the immigration rights. Now that I've discussed the advocacy needed to create change, let me do a recap of what I've talked about today. First, I described how many immigrants live in fear every single day, even after being abiding citizens. Second, I described how implementing comprehensive immigration reforms lets many of these individuals have the rights that they need. And lastly, I described how advocating for these immigrants through student organizations and protests can create change. By understanding these problems, we can fight to give them the rights that they deserve. I hope that this speech given to me by you guys will help you guys want to create change. Thank you.